This is Celebration TV. Revealing Jesus, releasing this.
Amounted to 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
You are very welcome to the news desk on Celebration TV. I am Sherry Quinsley Brimer. Here are the news making the headlines for today. Bajabia Miller vows to sustain advocacy for youth inclusion in governance. For Yulu demands probe after rally brutally dispersed. US and UK face global backlash over Australia defense deal. Lagos preparing for VAT collection, says the LIRS. Morocco stunned Cameroon at Aisha Buhari tourney. Do stay with us after this very short timeout. I'll bring you the news in full. I'll be right back. You're welcome back. Now the news in detail. Bajabia Miller vows to sustain advocacy for youth inclusion and governance. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajabia Miller, has reiterated his commitment to the advocacy of youth inclusion in governance. The Speaker says he subscribed to the belief that Nigerian youths had a lot to offer. He says the 9th House of Representatives has since keyed into the youth advocacy and governance in public offices because the many bills currently being considered were motivated by the interest of the youth. This was contained in a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Lanre Lasisi, in Abuja. Bajabia Miller says they should be able to put the interest of the youth at the forefront. They will continue to support them as they have been doing. The Speaker notes that Nigerian youth must peacefully work towards gaining positions of leadership. The leader of the group, who is also the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Social Investment Program, as well as the caretaker National Youth Leader of the APC, Ismail Ahmed, says Bajabia Miller had shown loyalty, dedication, and commitment to the APC as a progressive family. And I'm moving forward from that news story. Crisis hits Arawa group over attack on Buhari's economic policies. The crisis rocking the Arawa Youth Assembly took a turn for the worse with the sacking of the Speaker of the Assembly, Mohammed Denlami. A section of the Assembly disassociated the group from comments made by its former Speaker about the economic policies of the President Muhammadu Buhari. They equally announced Denlami's removal from his leadership position, and in his place, Tahir Azare was named a new speaker. Azare alleged that his predecessor was sacked for using the group's platform to promote a devious political plot to threaten Nigeria's security and economy. The former speaker had, at a press conference, called for the sack of the governor of the central bank for formulating economic policies that have increased poverty amongst Nigerians. Denlami says they stand firmly by their words at the Arawa Youth Assembly asking Mr. Emefiele to resign from his position as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. This is necessary because every point raised against Mr. Emefiele is factual and verifiable. In another development, Ogun Assembly makes case for LGs at stakeholders meeting. The Ogun State House of Assembly held a stakeholders meeting over the proposed State Value Added Tax Law 2021, which had already passed the second reading. The Assembly noted that the state deserved far better than what it received from VAT through the Federation account. It, however, canvassed for a higher percentage in the sharing formula of revenue accruable from VAT to the local government councils to aid the grassroots development. The Speaker, Olakunle Oluomo, states this while declaring open the stakeholders forum on a bill for a law to impose and charge value-added tax on certain goods and services, provide for the administration of the task and for related purposes, held at the Assembly Complex, Okemosan, Abeokuta. Oluomo says the proposed State Value Added Tax Law 2021 remains one of the initiatives of the Assembly, being a progressive legislative institution poised towards achieving feasible fiscal restructuring in the country. He clarified that the proposed bill would ensure improved revenue to the state, adding that the revenue item was not listed in the exclusive list of the nation's constitution. And meanwhile, the stakeholders have called for a review of the collectibles under VAT, the sharing percentage between the state and local government councils. The Chairman, Board of Internal Revenue Service, Benga Olale, called for the amendment of the bill to include taxation of e-commerce and allied businesses, given the introduction of digital technology to commerce. He also proposed a sharing percentage of 70% to the state and the remaining 30% to local government councils. Now news coming from around Africa. The RC opposition leader Fayulu demands probe after rally brutally dispersed. Congolese opposition leader Martin Fayulu has demanded an investigation after security forces brutally dispersed a rally he called over election reforms. Police fired in the air in Kinshasa, the Democratic Republic of Congo capital, to disperse Fayulu's supporters, injuring some in the process. Fayulu lost to Felix Tshisekedi in the 2018 election that many observers say was rigged. He accused Tshisekedi of seeking to undermine the Election Commission's independence ahead of the 2023 vote. And just in June, the National Assembly, which is dominated by Tshisekedi's loyalists, passed an amendment that was touted by the government as critical to strengthen the independence of the commission. Fayulu has maintained that Tshisekedi, who came to power after a shock alliance with former President Joseph Kabila, is an illegitimate president. And news still coming from around Africa. Somali president withdraws prime minister's power in escalating row. Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed announced he had withdrawn the power of Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Rabo, the latest development in a bitter row that has plunged the country into fresh crisis. The Prime Minister has violated the transitional constitution, so his executive powers have been withdrawn, especially his powers to remove and to appoint officials until the election is completed. The office of the president, popularly known as Farmajo, says this in a statement. The head of state justified his decision by saying that the prime minister had taken imprudent decisions that could pave the way for political and security instability, and that he had not carried out any consultation and collaboration with the president. The two men, who have had a tense relationship for several months, have clashed twice in the past 10 days over dismissals and appointments to key security positions. On September 5th, Mohammed Rabel dismissed the head of the Intelligence and Security Agency, NISA, Fahad Yassin, a close associate of Macho, for his handling of the investigation into the unexplained disappearance of one of his female officers, Ikran Talil. The president overturned the illegal and unconstitutional decision and appointed a replacement of his choice after promoting Fahad Yassin to National Security Advisor. Just last week, after accusing the president of obstructing the investigation and calling his decisions a dangerous existential threat to the country, the prime minister replaced the security minister. The president also ruled that this decision was not in accordance with the constitution. Right now, we will take a very short break. When we get back from that break, I'll bring you a news update coming from the United States. Do not go nowhere. I will be right back.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
You're welcome back. Now back to the news. UK and the US face global backlash over Australia defense deal. The US and the UK are facing growing international criticism over a new security pact signed with Australia. The deal, seen as an effort to counter China, will see the US and the UK give Australia the technology to build nuclear-powered submarines. But the move angered France, which says it had been stabbed in the back, while China accused the three powers of having a Cold War mentality. The pact has raised fears that it could provoke China into a war. The alliance, known as AUKUS, was announced by the US President Joe Biden, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and his Australian counterpart Scott Morrison. While they did not mention China, AUKUS has been widely viewed as an effort to counter Beijing's influence in the contested South China Sea. Mr. Johnson later told MPs that the agreement was not intended to be adversarial to China. But the Prime Minister was questioned by his predecessor, Theresa May, about whether the deal could lead to Britain being dragged into war with China. She asked the Prime Minister about the implications of the partnership in the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Mr. Johnson replied the United Kingdom remains determined to defend international law, and that is the strong advice that they would give to their friends across the world, and the strong advice that they would give to the government in Beijing. Democratic Taiwan sees itself as a sovereign state, but Beijing has increased pressure on the island, which it views as a breakaway province. Now more updates coming from India. Outcry as Indian authorities search activist premises. An official raid on the offices and home of a prominent human rights activist critical of the government has sparked outrage in India. India's Enforcement Directorate, a government agency that fights financial crime, searched Harsh Mander's premises. Officials say they were investigating a money laundering case against him. But activists and lawyers called the move an attempt to threaten, intimidate, and silence critics. Investigators searched 3 locations connected to Mr. Mander's in the national capital, Delhi, his home, his office, the Center for Equity Studies, and a children's home run by his organization. The raids happened a day after Mr. Mander left for Berlin for a 9-month-long fellowship with the Robert Bosch Academy, according to Indian website Scroll. Police had also searched 2 children's homes with whom Mr. Mander has been associated with in the past in 2020 to investigate alleged financial irregularities committed by him. A writer, researcher, and social activist by profession, Mr. Mander has been a staunch critic of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Hindu nationalist government. And now news coming from the world of business. Lagos State preparing for VAT collection, says the LIRS. The Lagos State Inland Revenue Service says it is ready for value-added tax collection. It disclosed this in an answer to a question raised during the LCCI's SME Group workshop on assisting MSMEs with regulatory. When asked about VAT, Assistant Director of Taxes, LIRS, Adetola Olanruwaju, says the case is in the court and there will be another hearing today. Lagos State is prepared for VAT collection, but any matter still in court is not for the public consumption. Olanruwaju represented the LIRS chairman Hamzat Subar at the event held to inform SMEs on tax compliance. He says they have been collecting state tax before now, and they have been collecting occupancy tax. So they are very prepared for VAT collection, but waiting on the judgment. When asked why the Lagos VAT law did not exempt small and medium-sized enterprises from VAT, he says the Lagos State House of Assembly says they will look into it. If there is need for any adjustment, it will be made. But What he is sure of is that the pharmaceuticals are exempted, but where there are issues presently, it will be considered in public interest. A three-man panel of the appeal court justices led by Justice Hassan Shamani has ordered all parties in the VAT tussle to remain status quo and refrain from taking any action that would give effect to the judgment of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt. The court ordered that the status quo ante bellum be maintained. And now still on business news, Unity Bank authors fund 15.5 billion naira equipment for Julius Berger. The Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the SCORE Nigeria PLC, Dr. Masad Bolus, has appreciated 8 banks for facilitating a credit facility of 15.5 billion naira for the acquisition of trucks and equipment to Julius Berger PLC. A statement from SCORE said that SCORE presented 33 man platform trucks and equipment to Julius Berger to be deployed for the construction of the 380-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna-Kano roads. The bank that funded the acquisition were Unity Bank PLC, Heritage Bank Limited, Zenith Bank PLC, Providence Bank Limited, Wema Bank PLC, United Bank for Africa PLC, Union Bank PLC, and Coronation Merchant Bank Limited. Mr. Raf, the representatives of the MD of Julius Berger Nigerian PLC, Dr. Lars Richard, says the trucks and other equipment would help the company expand its field capacity and increase the speed of execution, leading to timely completion of the highly anticipated project. The MD and CEO of Unity Bank PLC, Ms. Tommy Samphone, represented by the Directorate Head, Lagos and Southwest Zone, Mr. Wale Ogunride, says they looked at the strategic importance of this project and how such infrastructure could contribute to stimulating economic activity and decided that Unity Bank must play its part. In a separate statement, the Executive Director of Wema Bank, Mr. Oluwole Ajimishimi, was quoted as saying that his bank was delighted to be one of the institutions to support the SCORE in the project. Right now, it's time to take a very short break. When we get back, I'll bring you news from the world of sports as Morocco stunned Cameroon at Aisha Buhari's tourney.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
You're very welcome back. Now it's news update coming from the world of sports. Morocco stunned Cameroon at Aisha Buhari's tourney. A brilliant goal by Fatima tagged out 13 minutes from time separated Cameroon and Morocco in the second match of the maiden edition of Aisha Buhari's Invitational Women's Tournament at the Mobalaji Johnson Arena in Lagos. Both Lionesses were matched in all aspects for large swaths of the game, with the North African showing both power and athleticism on similar scale as can be found in sub-Saharan teams. Goalkeeper Khadija and defenders Zainab, Nala, Nikach and Saba Seki stood firmly between the France 2019 World Cup finalists and any goal before the nimble-footed Tagnat showed much calmness in picking her spot on a counter-attack to put the more experienced Lionesses to the sword. Cameroon reached the final of the Women African Cup of Nations the country hosted in 2016, losing the trophy to Nigeria and featured at the FIFA World Cup finals in France. But that did not matter to the Moroccan girls as they went tackle for tackle in the evening sun. Right now, we'll take another news coming from the world of sports. Musa guns for 90th career goal against Malatyaspor. Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa will be aiming to score his 90th career goal overseas if he features for his Turkish Super League club Fatih Karagümrük in their away clash against Yeni Malatyaspor today. Musa, who has scored once since he joined Karagümrük this summer, will also be eager to bag his second goal in his fourth appearance for the club. The Nigerian captain, who joined Benlo on a 3-year deal from Kano Pillars, where he emerged as the top scorer in the Nigerian Professional Football League in 2010, scored 10 goals in 42 games for the Dutch club in 2 seasons in 2012. The Nigerian moved from CSKA Moscow from Venlo in 2012 for £5 million and spent 4 seasons in his first stint. During this time, the Nigerian scored 54 times in 168 games for the red and the blue side. His firm saw him join Leicester City in 2016 in a then club record €16 million deal that had went on to notch 6 goals in 33 appearances. The Nigerian failed to replicate his impressive goal-scoring form for the Foxes during his torrid spell at the club and was shipped out to CSKA Moscow on a six-month loan deal in January 2018. He scored 7 times in the 16 games he played for CSKA. Right now, we have come to the end of the news desk of Celebration TV. Just in case you missed the top stories, here is a rundown of the headlines. Bajabia Amile vows to sustain advocacy for youth inclusion in governance. DRC opposition leader Fayulu demands probe after rally brutally dispersed. US and UK face global backlash over Australia defense deal. Lagos State preparing for VAT collection, says the LIRS. And on sports news, Morocco stunned Cameroon at Aisha Buhari's tourney. And now it's time for the photo of the day. This photo says you need a lot of lovers to be at the top. We all need people at every point of our lives to grow. Whether you like it or not, you cannot make it alone. You can share your thoughts about this photo of the day via our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, we are My Celebration TV. On Twitter, we are at My Celebration TV. On YouTube, we are Celebration TV. Do well to bear in mind that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership might. as an individual who knows what to do and do so without expecting to be pushed, has bagged his way to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, everything we feel, and everything we believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. I am Sherry Queensley Bima. Thank you for staying tuned on the news desk. Goodbye.
To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing AIM of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Osun.